So you did it. You got that acceptance letter to a U.S. university. And that is amazing. Congratulations. But before you start packing, we need to talk about the one thing that's definitely not in the brochure, what it really costs to live here. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down and give you a real-world financial survival guide.
You know, this happens to so many international students. You land, you're full of excitement and big dreams, and then, bam, sticker shock hits you. You realize that a simple, quote-unquote, cheap meal can easily cost $20 with tax and tip. And that's when you realize your budget might have been, well, a little optimistic.
So to make sure that doesn't happen to you, here's our game plan. We're going to uncover the hidden price of the American dream, lay out a simple 4-pillar financial roadmap, dive deep into your biggest expenses, and then finish up with an action plan you can literally start using today. Okay, let's get right into it. The number one mistake students make has nothing to do with classes or grades. It's underestimating the day-to-day cost of just living here. See, most people budget for their tuition, and that's kind of where they stop. But what about the phantom expenses? These are the things that sneak up on you. That mandatory health insurance, utility bills, your phone plan, even how much groceries really cost. Trust me, without a plan, these things will drain your savings fast. And hey, before we get into the nitty-gritty numbers, if you're on this journey to build a life in the US, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. Seriously, we're building a whole community right here for students and immigrants, sharing the latest tips for financial freedom so we can all thrive, not just barely survive.
All right, so how do you actually fight back against those sneaky phantom expenses? Well, you do it with a clear plan. Let's walk through the 4 main pillars of your new budget.
Just think of your money in these 4 main buckets. First, where you're going to live. Second, what you're going to eat. Third, how you'll get around. And fourth, everything else that life decides to throw at you. If you can get a handle on these 4 areas, you'll be in control.
Now, let's tackle the 2 heavyweights first, housing and food. These 2 are almost always going to be the biggest chunk of your monthly spending, so getting these right is absolutely crucial. So, the age-old question, live on campus or off? Look, living on campus is super convenient. There's no doubt about it. But you pay for that convenience. We're talking 20 to 30% more than sharing an apartment nearby. Living off campus, yeah, it's more responsibility, but it can save you a ton of cash. And if you do decide to live off campus, you absolutely cannot forget about this. This is the hidden monthly cost of utilities. If things like electricity, water, and decent internet aren't included in your rent, you've got to budget an extra $100 to $200 a month. Easy. Okay, what's so powerful about this is just how much control you have over your food costs. If you cook your own meals, shop smart at the grocery store, you can keep it around $300 to $400. But if you fall into that eating out trap, you know, a coffee here, a quick lunch there, you could easily blow past $600 a month. That difference is huge.
By the way, if this is making sense to you, do me a favor and hit that like button. I'm also super curious, which city are you heading to? Costs vary so much, so drop your city in the comments below, and I'll try to jump in with some local tips if I can.
All right, we've covered the big 2. Now let's dig into the other expenses, the ones that are really easy to overlook, but add up like crazy. And this right here perfectly shows how much your location matters. If you're in a city like Boston or Chicago with great public transit, a student pass might only cost you around $100 a month. But if you're in a spread-out, car-dependent city like LA, oh man, you've got to budget at least $200 a month for Ubers or all the costs that come with a car.
So let's talk about some real game changers, some student hacks. First, please don't sign a $70 a month phone plan. Use a budget carrier like Mint or Tello for like $20. Second, never, ever buy new textbooks. Rent them online. And here's a great housing tip. Look for summer sublets when students go home. You can find some incredible deals.
Now for something that is completely non-negotiable. Every single international student has to have health insurance. It is mandatory. And you have to budget somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a year for it. It's a huge expense, but you have no choice. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's bring it all home and put this together into a simple, straightforward action plan. So, here's the bottom line, all in one place. On the super thrifty low end, you're living with roommates, cooking all your meals, taking the bus, you might get by on around $860 a month plus tuition. But on the higher end in a pricey city, that could easily shoot past $2,200. This is the realistic range you need to be prepared for.
Now, to make this as easy as possible for you, I've actually made a student budget spreadsheet that you can download completely for free. The link is right there in the description. It has all these categories built right in, so you can just plug in your own numbers and get total clarity.
So, now you know the costs. But that's only half the puzzle, right? The bigger question is, how do you actually make money as a student? Well, funny you should ask, because that is exactly what we cover in our next explainer on the best on-campus jobs. Go ahead and click right here to watch it now. I'll see you over there.